Why can you do such a terrible thing as bullying mom? Just because she's not working doesn't mean you can try to kick her out like this. I was genuinely shocked by my sister-in-law Kate and mother-in-law Kathy, who accused me of such things, unaware that I had secretly taken over my Kathy's debt. I understand, but whatever happens from now on is none of our business. The day we decided to move to a new house, they would find out the truth and be utterly surprised. Now my name is Meg. I'm 32 years old and work hard at a company in the city center. Ever since I was a student, I had the habit of working too much, and even as an adult, I continued to devote myself solely to work. However, I had somewhat neglected love with someone and private life. Concerned for me, a friend said, "Meg, you need to take a break sometimes," and organized a blind date for me. That's how I met Ken. He was an office worker with a refreshing smile and looked brilliant. As we hung out a few times, I felt he was also interested in me. It was thrilling to talk about romance after such a long time. But Ken was very considerate, and I felt at ease chatting with him. Gradually, our relationship deepened, and before I realized it, we started dating. Things went so smoothly that we decided to get married just over a year into our relationship. I never imagined that I, who had always been so devoted to work, could feel this happy. I truly realized that life is unpredictable. My friend who set up the matchmaking party was surprised. "Wait, you're getting married already?" To which I replied with a smile, "Yes, it was sudden, but I've decided to marry him." The warm hug she gave me saying, "I'm so surprised and happy for you," was truly heartwarming. We made the best decision on that day at the party. Thanks, and look forward to our wedding. We laughed together. With our marriage settled, we next visited each other's parents to announce the news. My parents immediately sensed Ken's kindness and warmth. My mother, with teary eyes, said, "I thought you might never marry because you rarely talked about love." My father gave Ken a firm handshake, saying, "Please take care of her from now on." That's when I truly felt how deeply my parents care about me. Though they always encouraged me to lead my own life, I realized they secretly hoped I'd find happiness in marriage. Touching that deep love, I genuinely felt how rewarding it is to make one's parents happy. After that, we visited Ken's family. That was the first time for me to see them. They warmly welcomed me, alleviating all my anxieties. Before our meeting, I was worried that they might be strict, but they made me feel like I was a suitable person. I believed we'd have a good relationship as a family. During gatherings between our two families, we all enjoyed delicious food and pleasant conversations. However, there was one small concern. It was about Ken's younger sister, Kate. 5 years younger than him, she's still 25 and vibrant. But due to her youth, sometimes she was rude to me. I tried to overlook it, attributing it to her age. But then she said, "Meg, haven't you ever thought about getting married until this age?" Kate cheekily said to me, "If I was you, I would have done it in my 20s. There was a slight hint of boasting in her voice. Feeling slightly irritated by her words and attitude, I responded, "Kate, don't you think that's rude?" Ken gently scolded her. "Huh? Really? Ha ha ha. Sorry if that's so, Meg." She smiled and apologized, but I could clearly sense the underlying mockery in her smile. I felt she was looking down on me. However, since I only meet her occasionally at gatherings like this, and because his parents were always so welcoming, I tried to convince myself that everything's going to be fine. Yet, the events that followed made me realize that my perception had been naive. Preparing for the wedding was more challenging than expected, but by facing those challenges together with Ken, I felt our bond grew even stronger. Then, the long-awaited wedding day arrived. Under the warm and bright sunlight, our friends and family surrounded us with their smiles. Their heartfelt blessings and the tearful eyes of our parents made me feel the happiest I've ever been. After returning from our honeymoon, our newlywed life felt magical. In the evenings, we would cook our favorite dishes together, and on weekends, we would drive to nearby cafes. These simple joys brighten our everyday life. However, 2 years after our wedding, our daily life changed drastically. Suddenly, Ken's father passed away. We knew about his illness, but never thought we'd lose him so abruptly. It took a long time for both of us to come to terms with this loss, especially Kathy. I thought she was devastated by her husband's death. However, the reality seemed a bit different. It turned out that Kathy had been deceived by a dubious merchant and lost a significant amount of money. Not only that, but she had also accumulated a considerable debt. I was at a loss for words when I first heard this. I remember my husband being extremely distressed, expressing his desire to help in any way possible. That's why we decided to use the savings we had cherished for so long to reduce her debt. Given that she was now alone without her husband, we could only imagine how challenging her life had become. We wanted to ease that burden, even if just a little. However, when handing over the money, I had a specific wish. Instead of it being money from me, I wanted it to be seen as support from the couple. I didn't want her to feel any obligation or unease. However, perhaps because of that, Kathy seemed somewhat elated. Her reaction somehow made me feel like it showed just how out of the ordinary she was. "I can always ask Ken for more money, right?" Kathy said with a mischievous look on her face. In response to her words, Ken managed a strained smile and said in a concerned tone, "Mom, please don't think so selfishly." "Eck, but you'd expect it, right?" Despite her slightly annoyed expression, Kathy said jokingly, "You know, money can be multiplied if you handle it well, even if it's just a little." Ken shook his head in disbelief and responded, "How many times have I told you to stop gambling and avoid risky stuff? All right, I get it. I'll quit someday. But sometimes, I think you need to take a risk." Kathy didn't hide her dissatisfaction. The thought that she was truly considering quitting was hard to believe. Ken and I, while often exasperated by Kathy's words and actions, quietly observed her behavior. Ultimately, she didn't cause any major issues, and our home was filled with smiles, interspersed with occasional mild scares, as we spent our days in joy. Amidst such daily life, Ken had to be hospitalized due to a sudden injury. I prayed for his recovery and made daily trips to the hospital. During that time, I couldn't properly check on Kathy, whom I was worried about. Because of this oversight, it seemed that she finally did something quite serious. One day, when we visited Kathy's house to celebrate Ken's discharge from the hospital, Ken greeted her, saying, "Mom, it's been so long. Have you been well?" She seemed happy about his recovery and asked, "Ken, is your leg all right now?" "Yay, I'm totally fine. I can even run," he replied cheerfully, then asked, "How have you been doing recently?" "I'm doing all right. Living healthily," she answered. Then, Ken caught sight of her bank book. Flipping through it, his face turned pale. "Mom, why has so much money been withdrawn?" he asked, his voice trembling. She made a slightly troubled face and replied, "Well, I recently went out for some tea to change my mood and ended up buying a bag that I had my eyes on. I had some time, so I indulged a little," she said with a light laugh. Hearing those words, both Ken and I were so shocked that we were momentarily at a loss for words. We, as a couple, occasionally gave Kathy some allowance to make her life a bit easier, while she had some inheritance left behind by her husband. All of it had been used to repay debts, making her living conditions more difficult than we had imagined. Wanting to help her out, we didn't hesitate to send her money whenever we could, but it turned out that she had spent all the money in no time. The surprise we felt upon learning this was indescribable. "Mom, why would you use such important money like that?" We sent it with all our hearts. "I'm sorry, I just got carried away." The look in Kathy's eyes was one of regret, sadness, and guilt. We were perplexed, but then we came up with an idea. That was to live together with Kathy. By doing so, we could address financial concerns together and directly support her in her daily life. At heart, Kathy is genuinely a good person, so we thought she would accept our offer. Plus, we believed that living together might give her some peace of mind. As a result, she gave up her own house and moved into our apartment. And so, the three of us embarked on a new journey of life together. I'm truly happy that we can live together now. From now on, we can talk every day. One of the reasons we decided to live with Kathy was to keep an eye on her. But to her, I conveyed it in a positive light, saying, "Being together will make things more lively, won't it?" Since then, Kathy seemed to enjoy every day. She always woke up with a bright smile, and seeing that smile made us happy too. In the kitchen, we'd cook together, with delightful aromas wafting through the air. "Kathy, what should we have for lunch today? How about making soba noodles? It's been a while." "Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it." I mainly work from home, so I can occasionally check in on what Kathy is up to. Of course, we take care of her living expenses and other financial matters, so she doesn't spend recklessly. However, I sometimes worry that she might find a new hobby and spend money on it. In this way, as I think of my Kathy from time to time, half a year has flown by before I knew it. It was a particularly laid-back day. As I was relaxing inside the house, the doorbell suddenly rang. Wondering who it could be, I opened the door to find Kate, whom I hadn't seen in quite a while, standing there. "Oh, Kate, what a surprise. What brings you here all of a sudden?" I greeted her with surprise yet warmly. She had a displeased look on her face and asked, "Is Mom at home right now?" I could sense from her eyes that she had something she wanted to discuss. "Yes, your mother should be in the living room watching TV," I replied. Kate quickly headed towards the living room. "Mom, it's been a while." "Kate, what's the matter? Did you come over suddenly? Is today a special day?" Kathy greeted her with surprise and a smile, to which Kate responded with a shy smile. "No, it's not special or anything, but I just suddenly wanted to see your smile, Mom." "Oh, that's nice of you. I've been a bit lonely." "Really? But you're living with my brother and his family, right?" "Yes, I am. I enjoy my life with Ken and Meg, but seeing your face really lifts my spirits." "I'm glad to hear that. Are you hungry by any chance?" "Well, I might be getting a little hungry." "In that case, let's go to a nearby cafe for lunch. I just felt like having some one-on-one time with you today. It'll be a nice change of pace." Kathy, taken aback by the unexpected suggestion, gladly accepted, saying, "Oh, that sounds wonderful. I'm looking forward to it." Impressed by their close bond, we watched the two of them leave. It seemed they had something important to discuss. Sensing that atmosphere, I closed the front door behind them. As evening began to fall, Kathy and Kate returned with smiles on their faces. However, when they saw us, their smiles quickly faded, and the mood became tense. Gathering her courage, my Kate spoke up. Meg, I heard you've been bullying my mom. Caught off guard by such an unexpected accusation, I was taken aback, my eyes widening in shock. Huh? What does that mean? I was so surprised that I couldn't find the words to respond. Bullying my mother-in-law? I thought to myself, that's impossible. Seeing my reaction, Kathy also looked somewhat uneasy. Ken took my hand and said firmly, Meg would never do such a thing. However, Kate didn't seem convinced. Do you really understand how much Mom is suffering because of her? She continued, with a serious expression. Have you ever heard that Mom isn't even allowed to go outside? Ken and I were left dumbfounded. In reality, we never confined Kathy to the house. We were just being cautious to prevent her from overspending. Kathy frequently asks, I'm going for a walk to the town. Can you give me some pocket money? We always responded as kindly yet firmly as possible. I'm sorry, but we can't give you money right now. The complaints from Kate continued. I've heard many other things from my mom, she said, smiling slyly as if she knew a secret. I was taken aback and responded, What? What are you talking about? Kate continued. Mom said that she used to have more freedom with her money, but lately, it's been getting less and less. Could it be that Kate misunderstood something and conveyed wrong information to her mom? I wondered to myself. Or maybe, Kathy truly feels that way. Feeling a bit uneasy about Kate's words, I asked somewhat dismissively, Are you worried about the money situation? If so, we should discuss it properly. What exactly are you trying to say or want from us? However, Kate's next words struck us like a bolt of lightning. Please leave this house. As long as you're here. Mom can't genuinely smile. What? Just because I'm not working doesn't mean you can try to kick me out. I want to protect this place with just Ken and Kate. Please understand. I want to spend more peaceful moments with Ken and Kate. A deep sorrow was evident in Kathy's eyes. An intense feeling of discomfort welled up inside of me. The fact that I had worked hard to resolve Kathy's debts, that I had used my savings, and all the efforts I had made for her seemed to have not been conveyed to them at all. How can you be so cruel as to bully my mom? Tears were shown in Kate's eyes. Then, as if to back her up, Kathy slowly began to speak. Why has it come to this? I blurted out unintentionally. Beside me, my husband was clenching his fists tightly, visibly trembling with suppressed anger. Mixed in with his anger might also be his love for his mother and sister. Kate glared at me sharply and said, I want to be here to support and help our mother smile again. So you don't need to be here anymore. Hearing that, I took a deep breath, turned to her, and with a slight smile, jokingly replied, All right then. But just know it's going to be tough from now on. Don't say I didn't warn you. Kate, with wide eyes and a look of disbelief, said, What's gotten into you? Are you okay? Are you panicking or something? I gave a wry smile in response. I'm listening properly. You're telling me to get out of here, right? I replied lightly, with a somewhat smug expression. Kate said, Yes, please leave quickly. She then childishly waved her finger and cheerfully went back to her room. After staring at me for a moment, Kathy also silently returned to her room. Ken looked at my face and asked with a hint of concern, Are you okay? Somehow, just hearing him say that made me feel a bit better. It seemed I was more nervous than I realized. Sensing my feelings, Ken came up with ideas for us to start fresh in a new place. As we started preparing for the move, I felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. But I believed that if I'm together with my husband, we could overcome any challenges. On the day we moved to our new place, when Kathy and Kate found out about our plans, they looked utterly devastated. The day we took the first step into our new life turned out to be an unexpected event for them. Have you already found a new house? Yay! Actually, we have. Also, Ken seems to have something he wants to discuss. Huh? What is it, Ken? You know, there's a 5-year age difference between us, right? I'm still in good health, but no one can predict the future. Ken looked anxious. So, I was thinking of transferring the ownership of this apartment to Kate. What? Really? It'll be under my name. Kate's eyes sparkled, and a hint of surprise flashed across her face. She seemed to believe it completely. Ken slowly spread the documents out on the table and gently asked, Could you sign these? Without any suspicion, Kate excitedly signed, saying, Being the owner of an apartment feels like a dream. I didn't expect things to go this smoothly. All right, let's start preparing for the move. Wait, brother, why are you doing that all of a sudden? Well, I'm leaving here too. Why? Meg is my precious wife. It's only natural that I want to start new life with her. But how will you manage living expenses? That's something you'll have to figure out. Wait, I quit my job thinking you'd be living with me. What? You quit your job? Seriously? Both Ken and I were taken aback by Kate's unexpected revelation. It might be really tough for us to live here under these circumstances. I guess so. But there are always ways to make it work, right? You can look for a job and save up some money. Plus, Mom gets a pension every month. That's right, Kate. When you think about it, I also receive a pension. And with just a bit of effort, we'll surely be fine. And remember, this house is now yours. Comforted by Kathy's reassuring words, Kate looked a bit relieved. That's right, thanks. It's my house after all. If I look for a part-time job, I'll manage somehow. Kate was completely unaware that the house was rented. Just then, the doorbell rang, and the movers arrived. We led them into the house. Following our instructions, the movers began carefully moving out the items from the rooms. Watching the scene, both Kate and Kathy looked shocked. Wait, what's happening? Why are they taking things? Kate asked, her voice quivering. It's us packing for our move. We're starting a new life in our new place. My husband answered with a smile. But are they taking everything? Even the stuff we were using? Kate asked with a surprised look. Yes, all of these are things we bought. So of course, we're taking them to our new house, my husband explained cheerfully. But then, do we have to buy all new appliances and furniture? Kate's voice was filled with anxiety. That's right. You'll have to plan carefully for your future and do your best. Ken encouraged her. Take care. Do your best in your new life together. Ken added. And with that, Ken and I left, taking our first step towards our new life. Kate and Kathy watched our departing figures, their faces still filled with surprise. Several weeks later, Ken's phone kept vibrating incessantly. It was a call from Kate. Hello? What's up? Ken, I'm kinda in trouble. Yay, what's going on? Why did I get a rent bill? I thought this house was given to me. Oh, about that. What? That place is actually rented. And that document you signed, it was for you to be the new tenant. So, starting this month, you'll need to pay the rent. What? No one told me. Well, since you're living there, you'll have to pay, right? No way. The rent for this place is expensive. $10,000. I don't have a salary like yours. Actually, Meg earns way more than me. What? I always thought she was a stay-at-home type. Isn't she unemployed? Meg works from home, and she's with a pretty big company. That's why we were living comfortably in that apartment. Is that true? You're kidding. The astonishment and confusion were evident in Kate's voice. Perhaps she was finally coming to grips with the realities of life. From the other end of the phone, we could hear Kathy's voice, which sounded shaky. It seems I've gotten a bit confused. It appears we've had a big misunderstanding, she began, her voice laced with embarrassment. I'm truly sorry. Would you consider coming back if we asked? Her offer was too convenient, and my husband momentarily lost his words. He took a deep breath, and with clear and calm determination, he replied, Mom, think about what you've done. I can't easily forget how you hurt Meg. Right now, she's the one I care about the most. I can't live under the same roof with those who have trampled on her feelings. His expression was stern. Whatever you decide to do from here is up to you. It's none of our concern anymore. Ken, I'm so sorry. Her voice sounded tearful. Without saying another word, Ken slowly hung up the phone and blocked her number. As time passed, we began to hear bits and pieces about Kate and Kathy's living situation. It seems they ultimately couldn't afford the rent and had to leave the house. Now they're renting a smaller, more affordable apartment and trying their best to make ends meet together. However, it appears the pension Kathy receives is much less than we thought, and they've apparently spent most of the inheritance from Kathy. Kate is working tirelessly every day to support their household, but life seems tough for them due to their original plans falling apart and leading a life far more impoverished than anticipated. The stress on Kate seems to be accumulating, leading to occasional arguments that can be heard from their apartment. The neighbors, especially their landlord, have been giving them cold stares and have frequently asked them to keep the noise down. If they cause any more trouble, they might have to look for another place to live, which would undoubtedly bring about more challenges. On the other hand, Ken and I have distanced ourselves from Kathy and Kate and are enjoying peaceful and comfortable days in our new home. The life that the two of us have started anew is filled with daily discoveries and joys, and we truly feel happiness from the bottom of our hearts.